Hi, everyone. Hey there. This is Manda Stack from mydivineintuition.com. How are you doing? I wanted to come in here today and check in with you. Put in the comments either if you see this live or after the fact. There's a lot going on this week, a lot of big energies, a lot of upsets and challenges that people have been sharing. I've been talking with people who've been dealing with some pretty big strife in their families, some physical challenges that have been popping up. I myself have been struggling with some insomnia, difficulty with sleep. There's a lot going on. And I wanted to come on here today and check in with you and offer some tips and guidance as we're riding the rapids. To use a metaphor, it feels like we're riding the rapids of a lot of changes and upheavals. And one of the things that I think we're being invited to do, which can be really difficult to do, is surrender. Surrender. Why don't you just take a breath with me and feel, what does surrender feel like in your body? Maybe you feel a little resistance to the thought of surrendering. When things get challenging and tricky, we usually want to kind of tighten our grip and ramp up our control, right? I know that's my natural instinct. And I think we're being invited into a whole new space, I mean, it's been, 6 months now that we've all been adjusting to the reality of changes with the pandemic. And it's been quite a time, and it's been traumatic collectively and personally. Even if it hasn't touched you really closely or personally, there are still changes and adjustments and stressed energy in the air. And I was wanting to come on today with a message that really wanted to come through and share with you. So what I did was I went to my trusty Oracle card deck, my favorite deck, Colette Baron Reid, Wisdom of the Oracle. And oracles are simply tools to kind of anchor ourselves and hear some wisdom, some guiding information or energies that want to be shared with us for this time. And so I shuffled the cards right before I got on here, and I'll share with you the card I got and the message for us. So the card is By the Book, is what the title is, By the Book. But I have to tell you that the card showed up in reverse. It has a different meaning to it. So by the book, we would think, oh, we just have to do things, as they're laid out for us, and follow what we're being told. Well, guess what? It's actually the opposite. So I'm going to read the snippet of information about what that means. And as I'm reading it, I want you to tune in. I invite you to tune into your own inner knowing, to whatever circumstances you're dealing with in your own life or work or relationships, and see what truth you might hear in these words for yourself right now, today, at this time. Whether you're watching this live or later on, this message holds powerful truth. So hear these words and feel how you receive them about By the Book, which comes in what's called protection mode, protection message for us. Now is the time for a real change in consciousness, as you are incited to revolt. Challenge the structures that are limiting authentic progress. It is not enough to rebel in small ways. This is a call to revolution. Focus on what you really want to achieve, regardless of whether it feels so far outside the box that established order may reject it. Genius invention and transformation are rarely comfortable. Whew, isn't that the truth? And less likely to be accepted by the mainstream. It may be time for you to say no to the way of your group, to take a stand, or to make real change. It could be that the structure of your inner world is alerting you to the need for a complete overhaul. This is a time for transformation. So let go of the fear of change. Your intuition will lead you through the darkness. There's no turning back now. Trust that light will dawn. Epiphanies will surely lead to miracles. Just take a moment and breathe that message in for yourself. Ooh, yeah. So where might you be invited to say no, or to take a stand, or to make some real changes? We're being called in some really powerful ways right now in these potent times and energies. Things that used to work in the past aren't working very easily or well now. And this message also highlights our intuition. Your intuition will lead you through the darkness. And this I believe with all my heart. That is something that I'm passionate about teaching and growing in myself and sharing, that we all have intuition, whether you want to call it inner knowing, inner wisdom. And I named my business My Divine Intuition because I believe our intuition is gifted to us when we are born. And it's a gift of the divine. It is there to serve us. In fact, the definition of intuition comes from the Latin root word tuere, which means to protect and to guard. So last Facebook Live I talked about the path markers that are on our way to help guide us in our journey. And I invite us to think today about our inner path markers, our inner wisdom, and what we may be feeling or hearing inside ourselves that might be different from what we're experiencing or seeing externally. And there's some conflict or tension in that. And I want to invite us to really claim and trust and own our intuition. And what would open up for yourself if you could clearly hear, trust, and act on your inner wisdom? What would that be like? For myself, it's been very freeing. Not that I'm perfect at it, but it's an ongoing journey, certainly. But there is gold in there. There's gold in the intuition. Just like the oracle card said, there's the epiphanies lead to magic, and we never know. So I want to invite you to visit my website, where you will find a free decision-making guide that relies on your intuition. 7 different ways that you can access your inner wisdom. Some of it's through different writing techniques, some of it's through dream work, just a variety of ways, because everyone receives and perceives their intuition in different ways. Sometimes it's through external signs. For me, it's especially when the signs show up repeatedly. Like just last week, it was feathers. Like I noticed a white feather one day, and then the next day I noticed 2 big feathers. And whenever something shows up repeatedly, I pause and notice. I'm learning to notice, and then ask myself, well, what does that mean? So, and there's no black or white answer to what a feather means. That's something that I'm processing and thinking about for myself, about what message there may be for that. For me, feathers often have to do with winged creatures, winged beings, which have a connection with higher realms, and heaven and angels. And so one of the messages I'm taking away from the feather symbols that have been showing up for me is that we are not alone, that we have helpers and guides all around us. And I think now more than ever, it's good if we can have that message reinforced, especially because we're in the thick of things energetically and politically and in our families and work lives. There's so much change going on. So my invitation to you today is to trust your inner knowing, to invite you to ask yourself, what would your life be like? How might it be different if you had greater trust in your inner knowing, which is a true gift? Many people have lost touch with their ability to use their intuition or even hear it. But now more than ever, I think it's so important to be able to access it, hear it, and take inspired action on what's going on inside of us for that inner guidepost, that inner path marker. So again, I invite you to visit my website, My Divine Intuition, and there's a free guide. You can get it. And if you are interested in learning more about how to access your own intuition, those are playful, enjoyable ways for you to invite greater connection with your inner knowing, especially when it comes to decision making. So again, I'm really glad to be here with you. This is Manda Stack from mydivineintuition.com. And I wish you all blessings. I wish you good health. I wish you well-being in your heart, your body, and your soul. Be well.